Be the best you can be now.
Right now?
Yes, right now. Because you never know if there won't be a tomorrow.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another one of our sort of public service announcements. And this is basically just something that I have started to do where I think of a topic that is either near and dear to my heart or just something that I would like to talk about. And then I create a video on it and kind of bring it to you. We've done a few different ones now. Obviously, I'm kind of taking some of the manga series, anime series, and doing them from the top, taking it from the top, as well as like the trolling video and that sort of thing. So this one, though, as the title describes, is being the best you that you can be right now. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell is this? Is he, is he doing like a Tony Robbins thing, a positive thinking? And it's none of that type of thing. But one thing that I have realized in my short-lived YouTube career, if you would call it, in the last 4 months or 5 months or whatever, is that I do have something to offer to the world beyond my immediate family and friends. And now let me explain that to you. I am 35 years old, which I have mentioned in many videos, so I'm probably older than the typical maybe viewer or even reviewer in this particular community. However, that doesn't really matter because, as they say, age is just a number and all that other stuff. And it really is the truth. I am kind of a kid at heart in a lot of different ways. Now, I wound up getting engaged, married, and my wife and I had our first child at a fairly young age, early 20s, and really didn't even know how to take care of myself at the time. The bottom line, though, is that what I did is I got away from some of the things, some of the hopes and the dreams and the hobbies and the things that made me, because I went and I said, well, I have to make sure that I always just, do as good as I can and work as hard as I can to support and to bring things to my family. Now, here I am 13, 14 years later, and we're not living any type of rich, glamorous lifestyle. We're getting by. So it isn't as if it's panned out in some major way for me and I have this lifelong dream of this career, this wonderful, job. And we all need to work eventually. Obviously, if you're in school and you live with parents and stuff, maybe you don't, until maybe later on, maybe high school, college years, or even after when you move out on your own. But what happens is a lot of times you forget about your dreams and you forget about doing the things that could make you the best that you can be because you have to take care of the other life's things. Okay, well, I got to pay back these student loans. I got to get this job. I got to pay my rent. I got to do all these different things. And all those things are important to living, obviously. You don't want to live out of a cardboard box or on the street. However, at least with me, I have realized now that for a dozen or more years, I pushed some of those hobbies, some of those dreams, some of those things aside. And I'm going to tell you the number one reason that people do it, at least the number one reason that I do it, it's because of fear. It's fear of failure. It's fear of rejection. Why would I keep pushing to be an artist? Because the world is saturated with so many of these starving artists. I don't want to be just another one of those. And my fear of failing caused me to not even attempt to do it, right? For years, I had people tell me, geez, you're very funny, you're charismatic, the way you carry a conversation, the way you talk, you should be a comedian, right? People would see that TV show, Last Comic Standing, and my wife would say, you should be on there, you're so funny. And I'd say, oh yeah, well, and the chances are and this and that. And what I did is before I'd even attempt to audition or even just put together something, right, I'd set myself up for failure by being scared because I was afraid that, well, what if I got up on the stage and I froze up? What if I got up in front of people and somebody was like, you suck, right? How would I handle that? Would that be failure, And it was the same damn thing with YouTube. Before I even got on it, I procrastinated putting together a gaming channel for months, right? And why was it a gaming commentary channel? So people didn't have to see my face because I was afraid that people would not accept me, right? And then I thought, well, geez, YouTube is saturated and there's just not going to be a market or a niche for me. Nobody's going to watch anything. How am I going to get that exposure? And again, the fear overtook me. So, but the main thing though is that, life is short. You never know how many days you have left. I unfortunately just had an uncle of mine pass away, 49 years old, and he just passed away about a month ago. And terrible, terrible time, obviously with the holidays coming up and everything else. And I hadn't been close to him for several years now. But he really influenced and changed my life a lot growing up. You know, the whole thing where I say brothers and sisters, that whole thing, brother, he for years he's been called, he would call people since I was little, brother, you know, hey brother, you know. And a lot of times you do not hear that sort of thing commonplace outside of the African American population. And listen, I'm not going to get into racial terms and slurs and everything else, but let's just face it, for the most part, you don't see a lot of white guys going, hey brother. It's just not very common. So nonetheless, though, he was one of the people that kind of shaped my life in a lot of different ways, you know. So you look at all these different people and how they shaped your life and the stepping stones, and you think about it, and it's like, I'm 35. I might be halfway through my life. I might be 3/4 of the way through my life. Shit, I may wake up tomorrow and not really wake up tomorrow because I may die in my sleep of a massive heart attack, and then there'll be no more One Piece reviews. You never know how much time you have, so that's why you have to be the best version of yourself now, not tomorrow, not, you know, oh, I'll do it next week or I'll do it next month, because that is one of the things that held me back. I kept going and kept telling myself, when I get around to it, I'll do that. When I make some time, I'll do that. The YouTube thing has forced me to get better at, of course, speaking, trying to convey and carry a thought, just being more energetic, being myself, being lively, talking to a camera, all the different mannerisms and things that I do, using my hands, my face, the different gestures that I make and the things that I say. But really what it has pushed is right back there. It's pushed me to go and sit down here and for hours and hours to pass by and me to be dead tired at 3 in the morning, but not even to know. Why? Because I'm doing something that I loved as a child. When I was very, very young, I started drawing and people told me, you're good. But it was always family and friends or teachers, people that you would expect to tell you you're good, right? People that you want to go and stroke you, you know? Those are the people that are going to tell you. So I never thought that a broader audience, that anybody outside of that circle would find my art appealing or entertaining or good for that matter. So what I want to tell everyone here, and I want you to understand, especially because a lot of you are younger, and that doesn't really matter, but live life now, man. If you're in high school and you're having trouble with this and that, and you're trying to be somebody you're not to fit in, fuck that nonsense. Be who you are. And if it's a goofy version of you or it's a person that's not socially acceptable, some of my humor, people used to always say, you have a black sense of humor, right? And they just meant just sort of the humor that I said just wasn't widely socially acceptable. And a lot of it I picked up from my father and just from other peers around me. But it really, some of the jokes maybe were a little bit out of place. Maybe were a little tongue-in-cheek for that particular audience. But here's the thing. There's 7 billion plus people on this planet. And with the internet, we can all be connected, obviously, through the click of a mouse. You know, now so more than ever before, back in when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, whatnot, where you had, it wasn't as broad of a range of people that you could reach. But if some people don't like what you do, if they don't like the guitar, you know, playing that you do, if they don't like your humor, they don't like your art, they don't like the way you look, talk, act, whatever, fuck them. There's 7 billion people. Somebody will like what you do. You will fit in with somebody with what you do. So if there is one thing that I can try to get across to all of you, and hopefully it winds up hitting home with at least one person, don't waste the time that you have. Do I have regrets in my life? Some people say, no, I wouldn't do anything differently. And for the most part, with my family, my wife, my children, I love them. I love them dearly, more than life itself. I would not change that for the world. But what I would change if I could go back to 10 or 15 years ago is I would have pushed and pursued and done something in an entertainment type field or in an artistic field, and I would have done that sooner. So I would have been able to hopefully break into something sooner. And the other thing that I looked at too is some of the biggest success stories out there, some of the biggest people, the Steve Jobs or the Bill Gates or some of those people, they failed so many times. So many people told them, no, just move on down. That, you know, that for them to succeed, they had to fail sometimes hundreds of times. And then I thought about that and I thought, you know what? But that is the biggest thing that holds people back. It's not the failure itself, it's the fear of failure. Most people do not want to try to do something because it's easier to not try and to make an excuse why you didn't try than to try it and fail it and feel embarrassed and feel as if you're a failure. But the thing that I am learning now at 35 years old, and that I feel like I'm waking up to, is that as long as you are trying, and I know this is kind of a cliche thing, as long as you try, you never fail, right? And it is the truth. You know, you fail when you give up trying. It's the absolute 100% honest truth. And I am telling you that from the bottom of my heart. I am telling you that I only wish that I had had the type of thought process that I have now, and that I had kind of been awakened to this, you know, a decade or a decade and a half ago, because my life may have been different. Who knows? You know, I may be further along the path that I really wanted to be. But what I can tell you that has been a real pleasure from my experience here with YouTube, and then of course the you know, the art and just a lot of the comments and things like that, is that it really makes me wake up each day and enjoy life that much more. I didn't realize how monotonous and boring my life had become. Alls I really did, outside of the working and of course the joys of having a family, a wife and kids, and all the kind of goofy, fun, sometimes bad, sometimes good things that come with that, the only thing I really did outside of that was when I had free time, I would play some video games. And I do. I love playing video games, man. I'm an old school Atari guy, Nintendo. I mean, I'm old as shit, so I was back around when, you know, they had tabletop Pac-Man and Pong, right? So, you know, and I can talk with you throughout the last 30 years in the history of gaming, back from when I got my first Nintendo back in 1985, right? But all that stuff aside, what I can tell you is that although it was fun, it was not something that was very fulfilling. Getting some achievements in a game on Xbox or completing a game on the PlayStation or the Wii was not as fulfilling as sitting down and drawing a nice piece, a nice artistic piece from One Piece or from The Walking Dead, and then seeing others look at that and say, my God, that's good, I really enjoy that, or, you know, I'd like to collaborate on this with you, all these different type of things. So I don't want to make this too lengthy over here, but what I want to make sure that everybody understands, and please, if you take anything from me, from my videos, from my channel, I know that some people enjoy my stories that I tell. I know some people just enjoy just the way I am, you know. I spoke with someone yesterday, you know, and had been told that, you know, it's just the way that I kind of deliver all these different things, these different lines and these different references from goofy cartoons and things that I saw, video games from the 80s and from the 90s. So it's a unique perspective, and I'm truly thankful for all of you that do watch. But if you can take anything from what I try to bring to you on this channel, it's that don't waste another minute. If you want to play guitar, go play a fucking guitar, man. If you want to go and record YouTube videos because you want to have a voice and you have an opinion about something, make YouTube videos. Start out, you'll be shitty. I mean, look at my first videos. I'm very wooden. I'm not myself. After a while, I start to realize that, you know, being myself is going to be much more fun, not only for me, but for the viewer, and you'll get better, whatever it is that you're at. And here's the thing. If you get into something and you fail at it, who cares, man? Try again. Try something different. My point is don't wait. Don't make excuses, because I could just I could fill up a giant dumpster, man, a landfill with all the excuses that I've made why I didn't do this or that over the years. So be the best, brothers and sisters, that you can be, and do it now, not tomorrow, because there may not be a tomorrow. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And ultimately, the question that I have for you, because I do like to be interactive, is put in the comments section down below something that's a dream of yours. My 13-year-old son, he wants to be a paleontologist, wants to dig up dinosaurs, right? It's going to take a lot of schooling, and certainly there's not a ton of successful ones around the world, but you know what? That's his dream. What's your dream? What's your talent? What are you good at? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Are you burnt out? Then leave your desk immediately. Go have sex, read a book, ride a seal, hunt a snowboarder. Live, damn you, live!